Hello, everyone. Just to mention, I'm not work for AWS. Yet. Yeah. So I can say, in my honest opinion, something. All right. You should see it now. Okay, good. Yeah. Okay, first of all, I want to. It's my first time in Armenia. Really, I'm really happy for this invite. It's really great opportunity. And in advance, I want to thank Christina and the team for organizing this. It's a lot of work to make this happen, and it's happening right now. So really, thank you very much. Yeah. And today's my talk will be about AWS security, and the agenda for today is, by the way, interesting stuff. I know that many people know me, but I don't know many of you. But yeah, right. So let's get started. So agenda for today for the next hour is who am I? Again, about shared responsibility model. It's boring stuff, but I will keep it simple. AWS physical infrastructure, I think it will be interesting. The biggest part is AWS security services. There's a lot of them. We go through many of them. AWS cloud computing standards compliances, and most important and maybe fun will be at the end we have trivia. So make sure you're watching and listening, and we have prizes as well. Okay, so let's get started. Yeah, if you don't know me, I'm Denis Astahov, solution architect at OpsGuru. OpsGuru, it's a premier consulting partner in Canada. I live in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And I'm certified professional of Amazon Web Services. I have 11 certifications. 2 of them I just got in last 2 weeks. Yeah, the practitioner and the data engineer associate. And for my contribution for the community and sharing knowledge, AWS nominated me as AWS Community Hero in 2021. Yeah. And how I'm sharing my knowledge, some of you know I have a YouTube channel called ADVIT, here's my logo, with more than 127,000 subscribers, 15 million views, and yeah, it's almost 500 tutorials already. So yeah, pretty big. Okay, so let's get started. It's not boring, don't worry, it will be fun. Okay, AWS shared responsibility model. By the way, it's not only AWS shared responsibility model. Even if you will go to any other cloud, they have same model basically. So there's something you responsible and something AWS responsible for. So AWS responsible for security of the cloud, and you responsible for security of what you place in the cloud. So let's dive deep a little bit on AWS side. AWS is responsible for the physical infrastructure, physical data centers. So they protect the data centers so no one can enter to the data center and remove the disk and just go away. So they're securing this physical infrastructure. They're also securing software which running AWS services. For example, if we will go to the previous presentation with Victor, if you use an EKS, so the master node or control plane, you're not responsible for it. AWS responsible. So AWS responsible for patching all the operation system and software where this control panel installed. And you're responsible for whatever you placing inside the cloud, inside the AWS. So it's if you're using virtual machines like EC2, so you're responsible for patching this virtual machine, updating if it's Windows, updating Windows updates, or Linux, updating Linux kernels. You're also responsible for the data encryption on REST, so you decide which key you want to use to encrypt data on S3 buckets or EBS volumes or databases. And you're also responsible for who will access your data and which permission they will have for this data. Physical infrastructure, I just told. So AWS has many regions across the globe. You can see it's green or blue. It's green dots. It's regions which you can use today. And the red dots, it's regions which is in build state and will be finished in the next 2 or 3 years. I just told about a region. So region, what is a region? It's an isolated geographic area. built of at least 3 availability zones, 3 data centers. If I will take back like 3-4 years ago, when AWS opened new region, it usually has 2 availability zones. Now it's minimum always 3. And availability zones, basically it's isolated data center. It's like few buildings. I will show you like how it looks like really in real pictures, with a redundant network connectivity, power, and what else? Networking. So in case something happened to one data centers, the another data center completely not affected and it's continuing to run. And a connection between all the data centers is using private low latency link. And also all availability zones within region, they're located like 60 miles or 100 kilometers between each other. And this is how basically AWS availability zones looks like. It's huge hangar, like huge building with tons of racks with many servers, many CPU, many RAM, and many hard drives. Not SSD drives. And this is, by the way, how a data center looks like from the Google Maps in Oregon. In Oregon, I think they have 4 availability zones. This is one of the availability zones of Oregon, US West 2 region. And this is one of the North Virginia availability zones. In North Virginia, there's 6 data centers. Like it's really huge. And this is how looks one of them. Like you see, few buildings basically. And all the security of these buildings is a responsibility of AWS, not yours. And the closest AWS region to Armenia, just like it's in Bahrain, in United Arab Emirates, in Tel Aviv, Israel, and another one which will be completed in 2026 in Saudi Arabia. But as I understand, yesterday, Vahid told me that mostly people in Armenia are using Frankfurt region and not regions like which is close to the Armenia because of the latency. Even the destination is like if you will take, I don't know, Bahrain much closer, like from the distance, but the link and latency are much better with the Frankfurt region. And we're switching to security services. It's a lot of them, and I divide, not all of them, but because it's really a lot, many of them into 3 categories. Services to prevent and protect, services to detect and log, and services to respond and remediate. And also we'll have like other services which I didn't place it on the list because it's really a lot. So let's get started. First category of the services to prevent and protect. The first one is AWS organization, basically account isolation. When you creating your first account, you're attaching your credit card, you have your account, you can use any regions, but and you can put all your infrastructure, all your environments into this account. But what happens if, for example, you have like 100 EC2 instances, so like virtual machines? You yourself mistakenly can restart or terminate instance which you not wanted to terminate because it's many of them. Production, staging, let's say development, all of them in one list. So mistakenly you can do some stuff. So this is AWS organization service coming to help you. You can create more accounts. If you remember when you created your first account, it's like a validation process. But when you and you think, okay, if I'll need many more accounts, so I need to go through again during this validation process. No, AWS organization is really just 2 fields to fill. It's email which you will use as root user for this account, and with the name of account, click, and you just get a new account. And using AWS organization, you can create hierarchy. Here's an example of the hierarchy of the accounts. So you have your management root or master account. Basically, it's an account where you attach your credit card. And you can create more accounts, a separate dedicated account for environments. For example, development, production, staging, and you can create more accounts, security logs, to send all the security logs to it. Shared services, for example, for some CI/CD pipelines, like resources which share it between all the environments. And let's say forensic just you can create many more. And as you see here in the diagram, also you can create organization units. So organization units, it's optional. You can not create them. That's fine. It's just folder to look nice. First, it looks really nice, and the use of it you will see in a few minutes. Here a little bit more advanced or like more complicated hierarchy which you can build using the AWS organization. And again, really easy to create accounts, really easy to create organization units, put organization unit inside organization unit, and put accounts into the organization units. Next one, I think this service probably it's one of the first when you start learning AWS. It's IAM. Identity Access Management, basically service where you can create users, where you can create groups and assign users into the groups and assign permissions to this, or directly to the user, or to specific groups. And whoever is in the group will get these permissions. Can create also access secret key, assign create MFA, basically just one of the first services everyone learning. Also, you can use this service to access multiple accounts, but it's little bit I cannot say it's complicated, but it's little bit ugly, let's say, how it's created in order to manage multiple accounts using IAM. So this is why AWS have another service called IAM Identity Center. The previous name was SSO. But I can say it's not previous name, it probably will be forever name. Everyone call it just SSO still, like, at least at our company, forever will go. So it's service where you can create also users, you can create groups, but most important of it, it's SSO feature of it. You can, for example, you have users already in your company in Azure, and you have like 100,000 of the users. You don't want to recreate them again in AWS. So what you can do, you can use SSO, and integrate it with AWS. So, for example, you have your Microsoft Azure and you have your AWS with many accounts. In Azure side, you have Active Directory where you have your users and where you have your groups. You can create specific groups for AWS. Like if these groups will have access to my AWS environment. So what you can do, establish a external identity on AWS site using SSO service. Basically, it's exchange of the SAML file. The protocol SAML 2.0. You exchange an XML file. You're downloading file from AWS site, and you're downloading file from Azure, exchanging them, uploading them, basically. So this know about Azure side, and Azure know about AWS side. And very easy to assign permission using this SSO service, assign permission to the multiple accounts. And all the users will be automatically created on AWS SSO. As you see, it's created by SCIM and not manual as on the previous slide. And here on the multiple account management, as you see, it's very easy to assign permissions, different permission sets. What else I wanted to do? This service is automatically enabled if you use an AWS control tower to deploy multiple accounts. It's automatically creating your first user, and I think even creating a few groups. And here, the groups also automatically created on AWS, and it's happening on Azure side. It's the default time is every 40 minutes. It's doing this thing. So, for example, you manage your users here, like not here. Whoever need access, you basically on Azure side on your Active Directory, you can create more user groups or can create more users, assign them to the groups, and in every 40 minutes they will be synced to the AWS. So you can click button and it will sync it. Next, I cannot tell it's service, but it's sub-service, and it's available only if you're using AWS organization. SCP, Service Control Policy. It's some policy which you can assign to account level and limit access even of the administrator. You remember this diagram with organization units, many accounts. So service control policy allowing you to limit access on the account level or on the organization unit level even. So every account which belongs to the organization unit will get this limitation. For example, you want to limit on your dev account, development account, so people will not use EC2 instances or they will use EC2 instances only from T2 or T3 family. they cannot use any other instances. So you can create a policy like this, apply it to the specific account, and that's it. Even if you, in the development account administrator, like you have full access administrator privileges, you will try to launch EC2 instance, not T3, like C5, something like this, you will get permission denied. And it will tell you explicitly denied by service control policy. But you administrator, yeah, but service control policy is basically God level, permission kind of, it's above you. And a service control policy, you can attach to specific account, you can attach to organization unit, and all the accounts will inherit this permission, or you can attach it to the root. But what will happen if you attach to the root? So everything, every account, everywhere that will be applied, except of the root itself. Root will stay root. You can still run and do everything because you can lock yourself basically with using this service control policy. So a root account is not affected by service control policies. And very recommended to use, really. It can help you. For example, things I will recommend to do, you can create policy which denying a share of the resources with external account. External account means not belong to the organization. What else, as I told you, like, yeah, you can deny use of specific EC2 instances. Another example, you can allow only specific region to use. So no one can launch anything in Asia region, for example. You can just allow only use of 2 specific regions where your plan of your company just to work. That's it. Another one, KMS, Key Management Service, it's encryption of data and rest, like S3 bucket data, RDS, EBS volumes of the virtual machines, RDS storage, and any other storage. For the KMS, basically, you can import your key if you don't trust like AWS keys, because AWS can create the key and manage for you, but you can import your key material to the KMS service and it will be used. What does it mean, encryption, basically? If we have text file with plain text, if I will encrypt it and you will try to read it, you will see garbage like inside. Don't see the text, you will see the garbage. On AWS, basically, it's preventing if somebody will remove the disk physically from the data center, it will not able to read it. But if on AWS like accounts, if you will try to read something what is encrypted, you don't have access for the encryption key, you will not able to read it. You will just get access denied error. That's it. So basically, you will not able to download file or EBS, like to see the EBS volume, get access to the EBS volume to see the garbage, like encrypted data. You just will get access denied. So in my opinion, I can say the KMS service, it's additional layer of security. So even if you, for example, have full permission to S3 buckets, and so you can read kind of everything, but one of the buckets encrypted by specific key, and you don't have permission to this key, you will not able to read the data on this bucket, even if you have full permission on S3. Because whoever created key, he need to add you as user of this key, so you will get access to it. Another service, 2 services. It's kind of service and not service. So AWS Secret Manager, it's a service itself. A parameter store, it's a sub service of the service called the Simple System Manager, SSM. It's to store and prevent you from storing secret information inside the GitHub, any repository. So your application needs database username, your application needs database password, endpoint, and like many other tokens maybe. So don't store them for sure in the Git repository. Store them in secret externally. So secret manager or parameter store. You're creating basically secret and placing the value, secret value inside. The difference between them, from my honest opinion, parameter store is free, completely free. Oops, sorry. Just a sec, wrong button. Secret Manager is not free. It's not very expensive. It's 40 cents per secret per month. But basically, it's not a lot. But my funny history about these 2 services, it's not a real, but funny secrets. I think when AWS created a service parameter store to store secrets, it was so successful, everyone using it, and it's free. And AWS thought, oh, we commercial company, we did something for free. how do we earn money? So let's do something. Well, we cannot, remove this service from the use. So let's create another service where will be exact same as parameter store. We'll call it secret manager, but we need to make some justification to charge people. So the justification is a secret manager can automatically rotate the passwords or rotate the secrets, and it can automatically change the password on your database. But for this use, you will need refactor your application. So your application, when they accessing the database, first and every time when they access the database, they need to go first to the secret manager and fetch the value, because maybe password just changed it like 1 second ago. So this is a funny story, not real, but this is what I think. And I can tell you from my experience, in 7 years, I never saw somebody using this secret manager with this dynamic rotation. People using secret manager just for static secrets. So why to use, you can just move it to parameter store. Another service, certificate manager, easy to use, free, by the way, to generate SSL or TLS certificates. TLS, SSL, it's the same, by the way. SSL is just old name, which probably will be forever. TLS, it's a new name of this SSL, that's it. You can generate a certificate, you can generate also wildcard certificates. That means star.example.com, for example, because star usually costs much more money, but on AWS it's completely free. But here's the catch, you cannot download the certificate. It's certificates stay on the AWS, and you can use it only with integration of AWS services like application load balancer, CloudFront, or API gateway, for example. But there is another service called AWS Private Certificate Authority, where you can create root or subordinate authority. You just can create one that's dependent on whatever is your architecture, where you can create your own Amazon.com certificate, and it will work fine, but only in private network. And here, if you're creating diagrams, solution architects, you're creating some diagrams, here's some icons, most updated icons for all of these services. Okay, let's switch to detect and log. Here, services, that's also a lot of them, and interesting. First service, and probably it will be, again, first service is when you start learning AWS as IAM, it's a CloudTrail. Basically, it's recording all management events happening in your account. And it's one of the first service probably will be to investigate if something happened in your account. And let's see, for example, somebody terminated my EC2 instance, and I have no idea who terminated the EC2 instance. When it's terminated after 10 or 30 minutes, it's disappearing, by the way, from the console, so you don't see it. But anyway, if it's terminated and you want to investigate who did it, when and from where, first place to go, CloudTrail. CloudTrail is storing data for 90 days for free. It's automatically enabled on all accounts. But if you need to store data for more than 90 days, you need to export it to S3 buckets. Basically, create called a CloudTrail, and export it to S3 bucket. So here, for example, you can go to the event history and to find who terminated my EC2 instance. If you know the instance ID, so nice, you can just place it into the where is it in username? Or if you know it's terminated, so you just need to find filter it by event name, and you see terminated instance. It did Denis, and if you will click on the event itself, you will get much more information, like user ID, Amazon resource name, account, access key which it used, username, if he used MFA. His source private, it's my real home private IP, by the way, but the old one. I have another one. And which user agent, basically, which browser it used, or maybe it used CLI. So here we can see I used on Windows, I used the Mozilla Firefox. Another one, AWS Config. AWS Config, it's service of rules. It's basically have many rules, and it's comparing your infrastructure against these rules. For example, one of the rule is a security group of virtual machine of EC2 instance, port 22 SSH open to the world. So this is a rule which, if you have security group open with port 22 open to the world, so this rule is not compliant, or your resource is not compliant to this rule. So for example, here we have screenshot of the AWS config, and as you see, I have 5 not compliant rules. So some resources not compliant with these rules, or I have 85 resources not compliant with my rules. And this way, this rules is basically best practices. And you can follow these best practices, you cannot follow because it's many of them really to handle all of these rules, just to make them clean and so everything will be green. It's really, really hard because it's a lot. It's really a lot. And you don't need probably everything. But it's good practice just to go see and think maybe you will need to make some changes of your configuration to be more compliant. Because you can install conformance pack with some set of rules and be compliant to some specific standards. And about standards, we'll talk a little bit later on another service. AWS Guard Duty. Victor just spoke about Guard Duty service, which analyzes you. It's working on the account, on regional account. So you need to enable it on per region where your infrastructure is running. You just need it's one click really. Just click, it's enabled, and it's doing some investigation what's happening in your account on this specific region for some suspicious activity. Suspicious activity, I just thought which suspicious activity can generate. So I generate a simple suspicious activity. I browse to my AWS account using Tor browser. You know, with the Tor browser is basically changing your IP address every 10 minutes by default, or you can click and it will change it immediately. It's like for some privacy, you know, hacking stuff, something like this. So when you access AWS account with Tor browser, AWS Guard Duty think this is suspicious activity. Why you really need to use Tor browser? So and if you will go to the Guard Duty, it will generate findings, and this is how findings looks like for the if you browsing the Tor browsing AWS console with Tor browser. You see Tor IP caller, and again you can get a little bit more information. If you will. If you will, didn't show it. So in the Guard Duty, when you want to see the event, it also will give you options to analyze it using AWS Detective, as Victor mentioned, but we also will get to it. Guard Duty, highly recommended to use, by the way. Really, for every customers, we're enabling CloudTrail export to the S3, so it will store logs. And Guard Duty for sure. It's really can give you interesting information. We had one customer, so we start enabling some security stuff. We enabled Guard Duty, and what we find first finding it was about 3 years ago when you can mine, you know, cryptocurrency. So it find like three servers, like token with the servers belong to the crypto mining, and we start analyzing when this service was created with the EC2 instance and who created. So, one of the employers just mined like for a few months Ethereum. So it's good, you know. And it's many findings can generate like a huge list of interesting stuff you can find about what's happening in your account. AWS Messi. If you're preparing for the exam AWS Security Specialty, you will have at least one question about this service for sure. And it's really simple service. Basically, it's analyzing S3 bucket data from files in the S3 bucket and looking for the PII information. PII, it's personal identifiable information. That means, for example, credit card numbers, driving license numbers, I don't know, phone numbers. Basically, all identifiable information can be detected in your files. And it's generating some findings with severity level. I'm pressing the wrong button. So with severity level, and you can do something about it. For example, you have application which people are uploading like tons of the files. You can analyze what's happening in these files. Maybe something mistakenly will upload something with PII information, and you want to get notified or just delete or just remediate it. Very easy to use, by the way. Yeah, VPC flow logs. I cannot say it's service again as service control policy. It's sub-service or feature of the service is VPC, where you can create your private network, subnets, private public subnets. VPC flow logs, it's something you can enable on the VPC level, and it will store logs of the network traffic. Here, for example, I'm exporting logs to CloudWatch. You can export them also to S3, just and don't care. But here's information which you can get, which you're getting basically on the VPC flow logs. Account number, ENI, it's Elastic Network Interface attached, basically. It's network card to attach to your EC2 instance. Source IP, destination IP, source port, destination port. How many bytes was transferred? I don't remember what this. I think it's just timestamp. And if the packet was accepted or not. this way you can make some investigation on the networking layer. It's recommended to use. Maybe not always you need it, but it's dependent. If you need to be compliant on, to some standards, you have to have network traffic stored. And by the way, you can have it stored on S3 bucket in JSON format and also in Parquet format. It's one of the questions on one of the exams. I don't remember what was. Yeah, certification exam, whatever it was. AWS CloudWatch logs. CloudWatch is service, but logs it's a sub-service of this service. So many, like almost every AWS service integrated with CloudWatch and can send logs to the CloudWatch. As we just saw on the VPC logs, it can send logs to the CloudWatch, and in CloudWatch you can easily navigate and make some filtering, can just make some investigation. For example, Lambda function. Serverless function, in Python. When you create it from the scratch and not creating any IAM role, it's creating a default execution role, and this default execution role has access to a CloudWatch logs. So every invoke of this of your Lambda function will create some logging, and it will be available in CloudWatch logs. You can see if Lambda failed, not failed. So basically, you can investigate over there. Another service, Security Hub. Security Hub, it's service of user interface, I say. Config has its own user interface, GuardDuty has its own, Macy has its own, and it's like different little bit interfaces. Security Hub is one centralized interface which integrating can taking all the findings from all of these three services and many other services. So it's kind of a nice user interface where you can just see what's happening. But it's not only to detect and log, it's also for something else. Yeah, this is how it looks like. A Security Hub, it's working on multiple accounts on organization level. On a Security Hub, you can enable, it's called some standards, you see. So you enabling, for example, standard CIS AWS Foundation benchmark, and it's basically AWS config rules. It's a chunk of the config rules, and you get a score. If your infrastructure resource is compliant with these rules, so you get a score, and you can see how all your infrastructure is compliant, or on the depend what the score of your standards. And you not need to be 100% always. No one perfect every day, so it's fine. And again, if this Security Hub, not only to detect and log, it's also for something else. Here's the diagrams if you want to create some diagrams. Respond and remediate services. So Security Hub, it's also to respond and remediate. It's not only user interface. You can create custom actions. If some findings generated, you can create, so I need to do something. One of the simplest way, just notify me, send me the email. But if you send me the email, probably I will do nothing because you will send me many emails. For the first email I will see, but all the rest I will just ignore because it can be a lot of them. So yeah, sending emails is not always a good idea. Maybe you need to make some remediated actions, not just respond, but also remediate. And for remediate, you can use another service called Event Bridge. Everything what happens in AWS accounts, it's basically events. Events, I can say some JSON files on the background running. Like many events. All the events are basically JSON, some simple piece of the JSON. It's thousands of them, millions of them running. You don't need to care about them, just, yeah. But maybe about some JSONs you want, like some events, you want to detect and catch them. So when it's happening, I want to do something. For example, GuardDuty creating event. Yeah, it's detected like somebody browsing a Tor browser using or like any other suspicious activity on your account. You want to catch this event and to make notification. Let's say, or just really trigger something. So Event Bridge can help you this. You're basically configuring which event I want to catch and what to do with it. And what to do with it, maybe a good idea, not just to send notification, but maybe trigger Lambda function, and Lambda function serverless code of your Python or many other languages, and you can do something. So your Lambda function will receive this event, basically this JSON, and you can basically, it's programming code, you can do something about it. I have some example of integration of Lambda with Event Bridge and other services. SNS, well, again, it's a simple notification service if you want to notify somebody. But it's not only notify by email or SMS message to the cell phone. You can subscribe to Lambda function, for example. But from Event Bridge, you can directly get to trigger Lambda. You don't need to go to the SNS, so SNS will trigger Lambda. But it can happen. And SNS also, you can trigger some external services. You can trigger HTTP endpoint. So it will trigger some, external service. I don't know, Jenkins job, for example, something like this. CloudWatch alarms. CloudWatch again service. CloudWatch alarms is a feature of the CloudWatch. For example, in CloudWatch logs, you can filter for some specific word error. So you want to be notified, let's say, if the error message in your logs of application happening twice in the last 2 minutes. So you can create this rule in CloudWatch alarms will trigger and will make some action. So it can again trigger or SNS just send you a notification, or can trigger something better than SNS. Highly recommended to use and make something. Another service, Elastic Disaster Recovery, and it's service only for the EC2 instances. It's you installing agent on your EC2 instances. What it starts doing, it starts replicating all EBS volumes attached to the EC2 to some staging area. Staging area can be in different region. Recommended in different regions because it's for the disaster. And when disaster happened, basically what disaster? Regional failure of AWS, really. For example, US West 2 just completely down because of something happened. All your disks of all your servers replicated and continuously replicating to another regions. So what you can do, go to your disaster recovery region, select all this. You will not see EC2 instances. It will be just EBS volumes. But you selecting everything, basically what is replicating and launching EC2 instances. It will launch all EC2 instances with all replicated EBS volumes. It's much faster than recovering from the backups. It's much, much faster. And you're paying basically only for the EBS volumes which has been created. You're not paying for the EC2 instance because EC2 instance is not running on the staging area. Only when you select all the kind of servers and launch servers, so then you start paying for the EC2 instances on the disaster recovery. Other AWS security services, which kind of AWS Shield. AWS Shield, there's 2 versions of it. Standard, which every one of you, if you have account using it and you don't know about it, because it's like by default just enable it and you're doing nothing about it. It's service to protect you from DDoS attack, the denial of service. You don't need to do again. It's just AWS protecting themselves from some standard DDoS attacks, and they have this service. But there's an advanced version of it called AWS Shield Advanced. Cost $3,000 per month. It's really, really expensive. You're getting more protection from DDoS, and you are also getting SRE team response. So they will call you if something will happen. From my history, I never saw somebody really using this advanced. It exists, you need to know, yeah, but I never saw somebody really using it. So they will call you, will tell you, okay, you have a DDoS attack right now. But if you're using Shield Advanced, you're getting some discount for AWS WAF, Web Application Firewall. And this service I will highly recommend to use if you have web application. It's very easy to use, by the way. Very interesting service. You're creating ACL. And you don't need to create your own rules, for the filtering. There's many managed rules, like set of rules. You just basically attaching set of rules, many sets or just one set to the WAF, and attaching this WAF to application load balancer, to cloud front, and any request to cloud front or load balancer first will go to the WAF, will go to all of the rules. If it's okay, it's okay. If it will be forwarded back to the application load balancer and will be sent to the backend. If not, so the access will be denied, basically. So the request will not come true. And again, if you're using Shield Advanced, you get some discount on the WAF because WAF charging per rule. So don't enable all of the rules because it will be expensive. Just see which rule sets you really need and just enable them. And you can manage it, just remove, add really easy. Another service, network firewall, basically the name saying itself, it's a network firewall of the packets inside your VPC, where you can manage which EC2 instance can talk with each, from which port to which port, basically. And I can say it's not easy to use. Some services very easy to use, like WAF, network firewall, not easy to use. I think it's not super user-friendly to configure, from my experience, in my honest opinion. AWS Inspector. Victor told about this service. A service which can scan your EC2 instances and find CVE if some of the packages on your EC2 is vulnerable for the CVE. It's common, vulnerable, and exposures, something like this, and the number, you know. So basically, you can find if some of your packages on your EC2 instance is vulnerable. It's just, we'll give you the list. It can work. You don't need to install specific agent to it. It can use the SSM agent, simple service agent. It's a simple service agent installed on most of the AMI images. But also there's a preview version of agentless, completely agentless. I thought, I checked like before this presentation, how it really, the agentless working, how it can scan really what in my disk if it's, there's nothing, no agent. I thought maybe it's using working as Ansible. You know, you given credential, basically you can log in and just check. You know, they scanning EBS snapshots. So you don't need giving credentials, it can scan your EBS snapshots for the packages. Interesting, by the way, how AWS can access my EBS, whatever is on ABS. It's very interesting, suspicious activity, I can say. Yeah, and last but not least, Amazon Detective, it's basically a service which combine 3 services to help you analyze some security events. It's combining VPC flow logs, combining CloudTrail, and also combining the Guard Duty. On Guard Duty, when you have these findings, so there is a button, Analyze with Detective. Basically, it's a user interface which making the pattern of the event which happened on this time frame, and just, you know, looking, okay, what happened in the VPC flow logs on the time, what happened in the CloudTrail on this time, and just what the Guard Duty finding was. Basically, kind of helping you to investigate the issues. And here's some example of the like simple really diagram on Guard Duty. Many findings generated, and you want to get notifications. You create an event bridge with a filter of source Guard Duty. Sorry, and what to do? Just send to SNS, and whoever is subscribed to SNS topic, like you can be many emails or many phone numbers, everyone will get notified. Another example. To block user and remove sharing RDS snapshots. If, for example, user, and it's very important, I think, the example. IAM user, you have RDS database, there's a backups, and RDS IAM user want to share this backup with his own private account, for example. So he can go to the backup, edit attributes, and add his own account and share it. So he can log into his account, you know, and recreate this database with all information because it's your database. So this event recorded in CloudTrail. You can create event bridge which will detect this event. You can call Lambda function. Lambda function can do everything what you basically will code. It's your code you can do. So, for example, 3 steps. Just my recommendation. First, remove RDS share if it's created share. So just remove the share. Basically, just undo whatever user did. Deactivate credentials of the like. Don't delete the user, but deactivate his credentials immediately, and send the notification to the manager. So he will, this user will get a meeting one-on-one with his manager why you're sharing a database backup with your private account or some account which we don't know. And you can, by the way, prevent this using service control policy. As I told you, remember, you can create service control policy preventing users to share resources with external accounts which not belong to the organization. AWS Cloud Computing support the following standards. It's a global standard if you want to be compliant. So Cloud Computing, all the services basically supporting all this ISO, CSSP, CIDSS. If your application need to charge credit card, so you have to be compliant to this standard. And this standard, I don't remember, there's many like a requirement for this. Also, United States standards, most maybe important, which I work with HIPAA compliant. It's if your company is storing or managing some health information. So everything needs to be just encrypted in transit and in unrest. Some Canadian also standards, so everything is AWS services compliant with all of this. And here's some European and AWS. All AWS services are GDPR ready. And way to access, manage, and secure AWS resources in your environment. It's AWS console, like really simple. Everyone starts from it. AWS command line. Not everyone, I think, starts from it, and not everyone uses it. Just maybe sometimes. But yeah, service development kit, API, basically Terraform is basically here as well. Terraform developed on Go, and yeah, you can use any of these languages to create in service development kit to create and just manage your infrastructure. And here's the fun part. It was boring part, now it's the fun part, and we have prizes. So yeah, we have prizes. So I don't know how we will do it. Don't scream because it's really easy question. So which service is this? Yeah. Secret manager. Exact. Yeah. You win. Yeah. So to have a. Yeah. No, the one of this. Yeah, one of this. Yeah, you're the winner. Yeah, we have a prizes. There's another question. Yeah. Congratulations. It's a secret manager. And have another one. Which service is this? Who was the first? I don't know who was the first. Okay. I hear some lady voice. Yeah, to the lady, yeah. So yeah, it's guard duty. And no questions, yeah. So thank you. Thank you so much. In case you want to connect, like here's my LinkedIn profile, here's my YouTube. If you understand Russian, because most of my tutorials are in Russian, feel free to subscribe. Yeah, and yeah, add me on LinkedIn. I will approve it immediately. And here's the time for the questions. Yeah, we'll be happy to answer any questions. Yeah.
The question is about disaster recovery because so one time is
Elastic disaster recovery.
elastic disaster recovery. What is happening? Those are huge regions, yes, and if one huge region goes down, everything will start failing over somewhere, yes, and there will be capacity issue. If I use this service, am I some kind of preserve my capacity in that area?
Good question, but here, not everyone will go to another region. Maybe your disaster region is one region. Maybe for another company, disaster region is another region. It's.
For example, if we take United States, if something happened on the East Coast and West,
Everyone will go to the west.
everyone will go to the West and vice versa.
So you need to be the first. You need to be fast, probably. Yeah, you need to be fast. Yeah, you can, well, it's not good idea to reserve because you will pay for it, like reserve instances in advance. Well, good question. AWS guys maybe can answer. It's not me, I'm not working for AWS, it's easy for me. No, well, I don't remember in my experience like outage, complete region outage really, which we handle. US East 1, yeah, but I don't know that we really handled like a disaster recovery. It's kind of, yeah, at least I was not involved. Yeah, and other questions? Yeah.
Hello, my name is Pavel. First of all, thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing your knowledge not only online, but offline as well. I had a question in regards AWS Shield or Cloudflare. I mean, and Cloudflare. A while ago, we had a large number of DDoS attacks on our infrastructure. And you said that you never seen a person who
used Advanced Shield,
Shield Premium. So here I am. Yeah. I lost dollars actually, and didn't get any advantages of it. To be honest, over Cloudflare production, Cloudflare. How it's called? I forgot. Premium enterprise account. Yeah.
You're asking if the Cloudflare better or just the advantages of Cloudflare on the Shield, the advanced Shield?
Yeah, correct. Like, what's your take on it? Like, what is better, Cloudflare or AWS Shield? So what's your take on it?
AWS solution architect will tell you AWS Shield, for sure. Only AWS. I will tell you. I don't know really. Check the pricing.
Cloudflare is cheaper, much cheaper.
So maybe it's better, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But yeah, you need to check not only price, but yeah, many features, but yeah, I really don't because I didn't work with Cloudflare.
Okay, thank you.
I know what is it, but it didn't work really. Yeah.
Got it. That's it. Thank you.
Any other question? We need at least one question. Yeah.
Hello. Hi, Denis. Thank you for your presentation. So my question would be not about the technical stuff, not about the current presentation, but mostly about your personality, if you mind. So you're the hero, AWS hero, but who is your hero?
Who's my hero? Oh, interesting question.
Who was or who are still your heroes?
I could say my AWS career, for example, started with courses of Ryan Kranenberg from a Cloud Guru. I remember like it was in 2016 when I started learning AWS. I purchased the book. It was official study guide for solution architect associate. I remember that on that time I worked for Intel Corporation, and we was already my team was already laid off, so we had like 1 month to basically do something, and just I was okay with it because I already had my immigration visa to Canada, so I was okay completely. I was really fun, just okay, start learning AWS. So it was not in 2006. I remember a lot of resources available, so it was only book and basically cloud guru courses. So I can say Ryan Kronenberg, I think my hero. How he presented, and how he teach the people. It was really easy to understand, very easy, to follow, and able to really pass my first associate exam. I remember from 0 to certification day, it was 2 months and 2 weeks only. But it was basically full time. I just really learned like full time because I prepared for my new life in Canada. And I know it's popular, popular skill in Canada already. On that time, so I think maybe Ryan Kronenberg will be my hero. Yeah, on the time. Now I don't know. I know he a little bit less involved in the community, much less. He was also AWS hero, by the way, on that time. I remember on the presentation, on the first introduction video, he presented like I'm certified and I'm also AWS hero. He had no idea what is AWS hero, but I know it looks like it's something really good. If it's AWS, okay. So I trust basically to this video, and just I buy his courses on Udemy in 2006, and it was really good courses on that time. Yeah, for sure. I remember when they it was purchased by Linux Academy. I think the level of the courses I think really dropped down. Now Pluralsight, I think they acquired. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not using anymore like their courses. Yeah, now it's Skill Builder, by the way. It's free. Just why not to use? And it's okay. I cannot say the AWS Skill Builder can prepare you really to the exam. You need to learn a little bit more, but it's really good and it's free. As good as my courses on YouTube. YouTube, it's so free.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's it, I think. Yeah. So we have prizes for the best questions. We had only 3 questions, and we have 3 prizes, so everyone won. But yeah, but I need to be judge right now and need to say which question is best, which is worst. The best one, I will say really who's my hero. Yeah, thanks. It's really personal question. Yeah. Second one, I think, is Cloudflare. So we will have some prizes to cover your cost of Shield Advance. And the third is everyone won. So it's, thank you guys so much. Really. My pleasure to be here on this stage and share my knowledge with you. It's really great opportunity. Thanks. It's really great.